Welcome to another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. My name is Molly McGrath, and I am the founder and creator of this revolutionary podcast. And I am so excited about my guest today. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Doing great, Molly. How are you?
Oh, great. Chris and I have been dear friends for, many, many years now, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I think we're going on probably 9 years.
Oh my
9 years, something
gosh.
like that. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Goodness. Wow. So tell our listeners a little bit about you, your firm, and your position at the firm.
Definitely. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. Really
Oh,
excited to be here, and I've
I'm
been watching all the
honored.
great work that you're doing, and I'm just really excited to be here. So thank you. I am Chris
Welcome.
Carroll. I am the CEO of the Copenbarger and Copenbarger law firm. So we're an estate planning and estate administration, estate litigation firm out in California. We have offices up and down the coast of California. We've got Sacramento, Santa Cruz, San Jose, Pasadena, an office in Orange County, Temecula, San Diego. So just all the way up and
Wow.
down. We've got about just under 50 employees,
Mm-hmm.
about 30,000 clients on our client list. At this point, we broke 30,000 this year, so that was really exciting.
Oh, great.
And yeah, we're very excited about that. We are in our 41st year now in business, which is amazing. And I've been with the firm for 9 years, 2 as CEO, and 6 as director of operations before that, and director of marketing before that. So it's been an adventure, and definitely excited to share whatever I can with you and your listeners.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. I love the way that you even speak, right? You're not like, well, I mean, everything is down to the number, down to the timing. Like you are just, I don't even think you could
Thank you.
conversation without spitting out KPIs.
Well, the quantitative measures matter, right?
Yeah.
It's so important. So
Uh,
got to give those evidentials. It's important.
I'm gonna tell a quick story that just warms my heart of how you and I met. So, gosh, what city were we even in? Do you remember?
I think that one was in Florida. I think we were in
Orlando?
Orlando.
Yeah, at
Yeah,
Disney. Yeah. So
yeah.
we're at a national legal conference, right? And how old were you at the time?
Oh gosh, I was probably 21,
Yeah.
20, 21, 22, somewhere around there. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. So we're at a legal conference, 200 plus law firms there. And it's a triannual retreat that we did, a great combination between technical, legal, marketing,
Very.
systems, process, software, you name it. And we always do a keynote kickoff. And so everybody's in the same room, the ballroom. And my partner at the time does a keynote kickoff. And then part of that was having hot seats where people were able to come up and just share what's working in their practice, where they might be jammed up, things of that nature. Well, here comes Chris and Lloyd, the founder of the law firm that he is the CEO of. And he sits down, and first of all, everyone's like, okay, who's this guy, the receptionist, what, and he sits down and he says, I am the
That's about right.
CEO. Yeah, the CEO does everything, right? And you say you're the CEO, and it was like crickets, like, what?
Yeah,
What
there's a
law
lot of
firm has a
confusion.
CEO? And then Chris just starts, well, let me tell you about what's working. And he just starts spouting out conversion rates, traffic, lead, conversions, talking about KPIs, talking about analytics, talking about his annual maintenance program. I mean, just like it was like somebody had dropped a bomb in the room. It was crickets. It was like
Yeah,
shell shock. And then we're done. And then we break. And Chris gets mauled
yeah.
in
There
the
was a lot of
hallway.
people.
I think I was like, this guy's going to need security. Like,
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. I forgot about that until you just brought it up. Yeah, that was a fun experience. It was great because I think that's when it kind of kicked in for me that I could help other law firms,
yeah.
right? And there were other firms from all over the country that came and like, how do you guys do this? Or what did you do when this happened? I was like, oh, I can help you. That's awesome. And that feeling, and you know this because you do it every day, that feeling of being able to help other business owners and other attorneys and other marketing groups and I just think that's the best. That's the best. You can't beat that feeling of being able to help. And so I enjoy it, and that was definitely the first taste of it, and I got hooked.
Yeah. And I love, because if anyone knows you, many of our listeners do, that you 100% come from a place of service first and foremost. You
Yes.
don't even realize even when you're speaking, you got up, you're like, what did I say? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
sharing what I do.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's not like a rehearsed thing. It's just I'm passionate about it. I enjoy it. And I like to help. I like to serve. That's the best word. It's the word that I use to describe our culture at the firm all the time. Is we're here to serve the clients. We're here to educate and serve them. And so it's a great word, and there's meaning behind it, and there's truth behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just sitting here thinking of, why would, and this is probably a question. So often people will say, well, when they call me, talk to me a little bit about your operations, talk to me about who's running your practice. And 9 out of 10 times the attorney will say, well, I am.
I am. Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about kind of your journey, Chris, and why you're seeing not to have to defend your job by any means, because I know that's not even how you operate, but just really what the benefit is for an entrepreneur attorney, that's our listeners, for small law firms, solo law firms, or medium-sized law firms to invest in bringing on, and it's not even just the financial investment, you know this better than anyone, of really letting go of control too,
Yeah.
of your people, your process, your profits, your books, and all that. Talk to us a little bit from your perspective of doing this for like 9 years, the benefits of having whatever term resonates with our listeners, COO, CEO, professional law firm administrator, PLA, I've heard that term as well, all in
Yep.
essence of really driving the bus and letting go of control.
I think there's a lot behind it. I got really lucky with our founding partner, Lloyd Copenbarger. He took a chance on me when I was very, very young, and put a lot. I mean, we were $1 million practice at that time. Since then, we're up to just shy of 5 million a year in gross revenue, and it was a lot for him to trust and put that trust and let go of that control. But Lloyd didn't get into estate planning law to manage a business, right? He got into estate planning law so that he could help people, right? And so the more management you have to do, and the more people you have to manage, or processes you have to manage, or projects you have to implement, or strategies you have to build, the less you're doing what you probably got called into law to do. And so I think that there's a lot behind it. There's that strategy piece where it's like somebody's always focused on what is the next step for the business. How do we grow and grow under control? What's the next step in terms of efficiency and improving efficiency or effectiveness within the firm? And if you're focusing on those things, or how do we do a better job of implementing things, or how do we do a better job of leading the employees and building a positive culture? The more you're focused on those things as an attorney, the less law you're practicing, the less people you're meeting with, the less families you're helping on a day-to-day basis. And it's really hard to balance those things just from a pure time perspective, especially if your intent is to grow. And that was always Lloyd's intent. And so if for those other sole practitioners out there, or even small to medium-sized law firms out there, if you really want to grow, do what you do best and hire somebody else to come in and manage the other parts of it. And that's kind of my answer to that.
Yeah. And if any of you, I'll have the links down in the show notes of how you can connect with Lloyd's firm, and go watch his videos, go see who he is as a human being. And you will see that it's within 2 seconds that he comes from a place of service, that he
Yes.
is absolutely one of the most compassionate, empathetic, authentic human beings I think I have ever met in my life. Right?
He's an incredible leader. He's an incredible mentor, and just he's family. And he really does care about the clients. He cares about building legacies. He cares about protecting legacies and families, and that has created not just a great culture in the firm, but it's created a number of entrepreneurs within the
Mm-hmm.
business. Everybody treats it and treats the clients like they're their clients, because they are. And that's where we come. And when you come from a place of service, that's how it works. And that's how you build that culture. And you encourage those relationships to just continue to grow with the clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it's an investment, right? It's an investment of money to bring on. And I love what you said. You're always going to be on this teeter totter of, of being able to serve clients and then run out and then manage the people, deliver on your promises that you make on your market. I mean, we all know how much time that takes, but I think a lot of times attorneys shoot themselves in the foot without knowing it in regards to growing their business, because deep down in their belly, they're just worried, are we going to be able to really fulfill this? And I feel like it hurts them a lot of times that they're not able to be fully, wholly present with the client in the conference room, because they're worried about the logistics. They're worried about the workflow. They're worried about, they're walking into the conference room and their drafter just quit,
Yeah.
and now they're like probably self-sabotage and don't get hired because they're like, I'm going to have to draft these damn documents, versus having a CEO. I'm just even using that scenario that happens every day. You're like, you know what? Chris will figure it out. I'm not worried, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Lloyd worries about the day-to-day operations of the firm at all. It's not even on his radar because of where we've gotten to in our relationship and in the trust factor, which has allowed him to just be a better attorney. It's allowed him to be a better educator. It's allowed him to serve the clients more fully when there's not all those other distractions about how am I going to find somebody to fill that position, or oh my gosh, how am I ever going to replace that person in the office or that role in the office, or how do we get to the next step? And the more you have to worry about that, the less again you're doing on a day-to-day basis to serve the clients. And it is hard. It's hard to let go of that control, and it's scary, and it's a risk, and all of those things are true. But it's one that managed well is well worth it, and will pay dividends in the long run.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I- the one statement, the founding partner, the attorney, the business owner does not worry about operations or money or the business or employees at all. Like, who says that, especially as an attorney? And I know it's true because I remember when we were in Hollywood a couple of years ago and we went to a
Oh
conference,
yeah,
and
yeah.
remember, and Lloyd took us all to dinner. I
Yep.
mean, this man is such, I mean, I don't know how tall he is, but his presence,
He's a pretty big boy.
he's a
Yeah,
big
he's a
boy.
big Oklahoma boy. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. He's a big guy.
Very, very, very successful
Mhm.
entrepreneur, and sitting next to him at the table. And he had crocodile tears in his eyes talking about what you do for his practice, coupled with that he finally gets to be able to be really present with the clients. And his only job is to worry about the clients.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty remarkable. I mean, I talk to Lloyd probably once a day on the phone. It's usually a less than 5 minute call, sometimes less than 2 minutes. And it's just anything I need to be aware of. Nope, you're good. Or yeah, just a quick question on this. What happened with this client, or hey, this is going on, just so you're aware of it. It's like, okay, let me know if I need anything. I need to do anything, and that's it. We do management meetings once a month, leadership meetings once a month is always our goal, to try and get those in, just to communicate to the rest of the management team and leadership team. But yeah, Lloyd is just, he doesn't, I don't want him to worry about that, because if he's having to worry about that day in, day out, then I'm not doing my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for our listeners, and they're thinking, I either don't have the budget, or, I might have a CEO in a sleeping giant in my law firm in the making. What would you give for some just drive-by coaching to them, or some value bombs in regards to why to shift their thinking today after they listen to this podcast? To they're sitting here, in the midst of a global pandemic. We're coming off of, everybody's been impacted by that. You
Hmm.
may or may not have employees working from home, which is a whole nother challenge in regards to how to navigate that, and doing client meetings
Oh yeah.
virtual. You're going to write a book
Oh
on
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been a fun challenge.
What
Um,
would
yeah,
you say?
I think that um, From a place of service, again, I think that you've got to figure out what it is that you got into a law firm, establishing a law practice. What was that purpose? Right? Why did you do it? And are you able to do it while having to manage all these other things? And if the answer is no, I can't do both all the time at 100%, then I think it's worth considering. Right? You've got to weigh the pros and cons for your practice and everything, and it's going to get to the point where you've either got to take that leap and trust that you brought in the right person, or you're developing the right person. I think bringing people up from within is a very, very good thing. And if you've got one of those employees that just always shows up and always exceeds expectations, maybe you have a good law firm administrator there, right? And if the term CEO scares you, that's okay too. A 5-person firm probably doesn't need a CEO, but maybe they need an administrator, right? Or they need a firm manager, or whatever you want to call it. But allow that development to take place. See where it goes. And I think that investing both time into that employee or into a new hire who might be that employee, through education, talking about leadership, talking about things like start with why, right? Starting with your why and seeing if that employee or that potential manager or administrator shares that why and shares that passion. If you can create that entrepreneur, it's a lot less scary to step off that ledge, right? Because you know that somebody's going to be there with you taking that leap. So I think building it up culturally is important. I think establishing and having that why resonate with whoever it is that you're asking to do this task. And I think remembering why you got into the practice in the first place is all those are great ways to kind of just say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take that risk.
Yeah. I love that of bringing people, finding the diamonds in the rough, so to speak, in your practice. Because once you make that decision, and you and I both know most practices have that. If you're hiring right in the first place, right? I
Right.
always tell people,
Right.
Your goal when you get hired is to replace yourself, that you're constantly on
Absolutely.
a path of growth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that mentality that there's always going to be more, as opposed to that scarcity mentality, where you have to believe that replacing yourself isn't meaning you don't have a job anymore. It means you get to move on to the next thing that's bigger and better, right? And I remember even throughout my career, and I still see it all the time. There's these people in positions at different firms and different companies, and their whole it seems like most of their job is focused on protecting what they do, right?
Mm.
I don't want to share with other people how I do what I do, and it's just like it's the complete backwards thinking on that. You've got to be able to share. This is how I do everything that I do, and then find somebody who you can replace yourself with, and then build them up and get that done, so that you can move on to the next thing. Being an attorney that services 20 clients a week or 20 clients a month is phenomenal. But what if you could replace that and you could do 200 or 300, right? And having the trust and the bountiful mentality, if you will, that there's always going to be more, but you've got to build it. You've got to make it happen. And the way that you do that is by replacing yourself, and making that, trusting yourself to be able to accomplish that is probably one of the biggest hurdles.
Mm. Yeah, I think both for the attorney as well for the employee, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where that culture comes in, where if the leader of the firm doesn't believe it, then the staff isn't going to believe it. And they're not going to get behind that. And so if the leader believes, I know we can do this, I know we can grow, I know we can build it, and the staff observes that and they believe it, then they can get behind it. And now you're the hardest thing is going to just be control the growth. You're going to grow. It's just about controlling it at that point. And again, that's where a law office administrator or a PLA or a CEO comes into play, is managing that, controlling that growth.
Mm. You said something that I loved in regards to, I actually had a conversation with someone this morning that is leaving a law firm and she has been there for a very long time. And one of the things that she said is that the attorney just won't give up control. They won't make decisions. They won't take action. And it's been like this for a long time. And I'm just starting to see I have two choices here I either accept it and know that I have a job and a really great, phenomenal job, or I need to leave because I'm looking for a path of growth. And so often attorneys, if you're listening and you're not giving up control when your team, and you know it, you know when you're white knuckling stuff, you know when you're holding on, because when you're typically overwhelmed, these are terms that people just throw around, and which are really just your emotions. If you're overwhelmed, if you're constantly frustrated, if you're constantly saying statements like, I can't get anyone to do their job, or I don't, nobody will step up, it's probably, you have to look at yourself in the mirror first and foremost and see, where are you letting go of control? And one way to see that is for you to just quickly make a list of things that are you despise, that you're constantly putting off. Typically it's like bookkeeping, or it's operations manual, or reviewing people's work when they work so hard creating these SOPs and stuff like that, and then you got to review them and they just sit there, and things of that nature. And make a list of things that you hate and that are driving you crazy, and walk into your next team meeting and just say, okay, someone else take it. Like, that's how you'll know if you can't freely do that and say, I surrender. I'm waving the flag. I'm done. Let me go focus on the clients. Let me go speaking, focus on speaking engagements and community involvement and things of that nature that you tell us every day you're just craving to do, but you can't get to because you're so busy with all that other stuff, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's hard. And there's the control aspect. And then you get into a cycle where you're like, well, I don't want to be transparent. And so I have to do this. I don't want them to know that we're doing this, or that we're not making this, or that this is the goal. And you've got to let go of a lot of those things. You've got it, because otherwise the whole team can't get behind an unspoken expectation, right?
Mm.
Um, you can't say, hey, we're not hitting the numbers that I want to hit, if you didn't speak that expectation and that goal. And that goes back to what we used to do all the time, 3 times a year, is you had firms come from all over the country to put expectations on paper, to speak expectations to their team, because communicating that makes it real, right? And then things happen, right? If you keep it all inside because you're just trying to control it, and you don't want to be transparent with your team, you want to micromanage all those pieces so that they don't know this or they don't know that, you can't have a team get behind that. It's not going to grow. And all you're doing is tampering down the good talent that you believed in when you hired them, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you lose good people. And so you've got to let that talent develop. You've got to let go of that control. You've got to, get those expectations spoken, because you can't hold people accountable to things they didn't know they were accountable for. And so I just think that's such an important piece of letting go of that control and letting go of that micromanagement, so that you can do the things that you're passionate
Yeah. Wow. Oh, that was beautiful. I'm going to quote you on a couple of those.
about.
I
All
was like,
right.
wait a minute, where's my pen? I'll put in the show notes for certain. I want to go back.
I'll give you a couple more, just because one of them is
Yeah.
from you, and that's progress, not perfection, right?
Yeah.
That is huge. And you and Ross speak to that all the time. I've heard you say that for years, and it's so true. You've got to start. You've got to start somewhere. You've got to get there. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to take a step back every once in a while, but you've got to keep making progress. It doesn't have to be perfect. It won't be. It never will be. And there's always something else that'll come down the line, but just keep pushing forward, keep pushing through. The other one is, honestly, I would, at this point, and my staff knows this, I would rather them make the wrong decision than not make a decision at all. Because either we're going to learn from it, or it's going to be the right decision, right?
Yeah.
But just making no decision at all, there's just no growth. There's no progress. And so giving your team the permission to fail, the permission to be wrong, and recognizing that being wrong just means you learn something, one way not to do it, or 99 ways not to do it, to get you to that one way on how to do it. That's progress, and that's how you grow. And that's what it takes.
Yeah. And I love that, because I think a lot of times team don't make decisions, they get, and then it creates this vicious cycle, and kind of like this,
Absolutely.
this truth or story that people, well, she never makes decisions or what have you, but you give them, your team, all the responsibility, but zero
Hmm.
permission. I love that you said
Oh
it,
yeah.
or
Yep.
authority.
Authority. Yeah.
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 But they got the responsibility, and
You can't
you,
do it. You're
you
setting up
can't.
for failure. Yep.
Mm-mm.
Setting them up for failure.
One thing I want to go back to that you said that just really hit me like a ton of bricks, and I think we'd do a massive disservice if we didn't highlight it. You said, if you can't do your job 100%, so whether it's operations or being in a counselor, in a shepherd in the
Mhm.
conference room with the clients, and guiding them and being with them, being present with them, it just hit me because you hear all this stuff about the 80-20 rule. And I hear
Mhm.
attorneys always throw that crap in my face, like the 80-20 rule. And yeah, okay, if you want to look at your time template, if you will, in your calendar, and it's carved out and it's perfectly laid out like that, like I'm going to do 20% on bookkeeping and the eMyth manager stuff. But honestly, when you said that, I'm like, I love that, because 100% doesn't mean just your time. It means your energy. It means your focus. It means your presence, and like really tapping into your unique ability. And I love that you said that, because I've heard this statement recently: you are 100% responsible for the energy you leave in a room. And I
Absolutely.
really love that, because I'm like, it's true, because you're bringing in the bookkeeping energy into that room, whether you're aware of it or not.
Every single time.
Right?
Every single time. Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to get in your own head, and other people will read into that subconsciously or consciously, and be like, "Wow, oh, he's in a bad mood. Oh, it's bookkeeping day." And then they start to associate it, and now you're creating feelings in the office you weren't even aware of. And that's going to impact the culture, and then the culture is going to impact the quality of work, and then the quality of work impacts the relationship with the client, and the relationship with the client goes all the way back to the bookkeeping, and now you're not making money, and then it's just that vicious cycle, and it just continues. It goes and it goes and it goes, and it's that piece of it, along with um, you don't know what you don't know, right? And you don't even know the things you're leaving on the table by not being able to focus on managing the firm, right? So you might be the best attorney in the world in that room still, but you're only giving 20% of your time to management, right? How
Yep.
many things are not getting done or not getting addressed or being
Oh,
swept under the rug, that you're not even aware of because you can't dedicate the time to it.
yeah.
So I think that's a whole nother piece. I mean, it's amazing the things in even the most well-run law firms that can go, just quietly percolating the issues that are there because nobody's focused on it, and
Mhm.
nobody wants to bring it to the top because they don't have the authority to do it, right? So I'm not going to bring it up. And he's always busy with clients, which is great. That's what builds him. I'm not going to bother him with it. It's just going to stress him out more, right? And so having somebody where the firm can go and say, hey, this is a problem, or hey, this is going to be a problem, or just having somebody be able to be there to observe and watch and look for those things before they become a major issue. It's important.
Oh my
Quality control is a big one, right? One of the things I started this past month that I'm finally getting more time on my calendar to be able to do is random quality controls. We've got estate planning, estate administration, we've got estate litigation, we've got business and tax, all at the firm. So I'm now calling active clients that we're in the process of working on, as opposed to waiting until it's done, and calling random clients that are doing work right now from each of those departments every single month, and just checking in. Hi, it's Chris Carroll, CEO of the Copenbarger Law Firm. I understand we're doing some work for you. I'd just like to see how things are going so far. Is there anything you'd like us to know, or anything we can be doing better? Right, just a couple of
wow.
those phone calls, and it does two things. Number one, you've got the clients who feel heard before it's too late. Number two, it lets the staff know you care enough to be doing it, and that somebody's checking up on it, right? And it's not to micromanage what they're
Mhm.
doing or not doing, but it is to hold them accountable. And holding people accountable is tough, especially if you're worried about having to close this next estate plan. And if you don't, you might be short on rent or payroll or whatever, right? Trying to balance those things and hold people accountable. Well, if I push them too hard, then they're going to leave, and then I'm really stuck, right? And so having somebody who can just focus on those things, I think it makes a big difference.
Wow. Yeah. That's a beautiful. You need to systematize that puppy and teach in law firms. I'm gonna have to bring you back up for that one, and
Sounds good.
teach us how you did that. I wanna go back to something that you said. So real quickly, yeah, you're in the conference room, things of that nature. What I love, and this is what I hear so often, and you're even selling me anymore, so much more in this. So listeners, 5x return in 9 years. Yeah, sign me up for that. Like, no, it's just incredible how you've grown that practice 5 times in 9 years. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I can't gloss over this. So often I'll hear from teams saying, I can't get access to my attorney's time, or I put time on the calendar and they ditch the meetings, or they're always late and we're, losing time, or they're always in the conference room. I don't want to bother them, etc. Even if you have a team leader, and even if you have someone who's a quote unquote office manager, which nobody can tell me what the job description of that is other than order office supplies, but that's another conversation. And, so then you get an hour for the attorney. They're 10 minutes late. You're not running the meeting efficiently. We're talking about the latest fire. And then, whoever's running the team leader, what have you, they have a list of 72 things and they only get to number 4 on, this hour meeting that now really is only about 20 minutes is what I'm hearing, if the attorney even shows up. And then, like, number 60 through 74 could be massive bombs. And then when they do show up, they're like, why didn't nobody's paying attention? It's like, oh, we didn't get access to your time because you only given 10% of your time, if we're lucky, to being the CEO.
Yeah. No, I think that it's an extremely valid point. And again, it reiterates the need for having somebody who is not only responsible for those things, but empowered to make those decisions. And that goes back again to the control and the trust factor. Hiring and empowering, right? It's not just the hiring piece. You can hire the best person in the world, but if you don't empower them to do the job, if you don't give them the authority to make those decisions with or without you, right? And that's got to be on the table, because if you don't make yourself accessible, now we're making no decision instead of the wrong one, right? And so then empowering them to make the wrong decision, empowering them to make the right decision, whatever that decision may be, that trust factor has to be there. There's often times where I'll make a decision and, I'll, hey, Lloyd, what about this? Oh, I don't know. Let me think about it. Hey, Lloyd, I've got to make a decision by this day. If you don't give your feedback, I'm just going to make it. And it's like, all right, day comes, oh, I'm not sure. Perfect. I'll make the decision. I'll let you know how it goes. Right. And it's like, okay, perfect. Let me know. And that's it. And being able to hire and empower that person to make those decisions is crucial. It's key to it. Don't hire somebody. You're costing yourself money if you hire somebody and then don't let them do the job. You've got to trust that you've got the right person.
Oh my goodness. And listen to even how you said, hey, Lloyd, we got to make a decision. You have until this time. All right, I'm going to make it and I'll let you know how it goes. He knows that you're not going to make a decision, then just walk away. No. You're going to be tracking it. You're going to be measuring it. You're going to give it the time it needs to figure out if it was a massive failure, a sort of failure, or a $1 million idea, whatever it is. I love that. If you're constantly staying in action, Tony Robbins always says, knowledge is not power without action. And, you have to make a decision and keep moving. And just your tonality around that, just your delivery around that, and just your confidence in, listen, we have enough data to make an informed decision.
Right. Yeah. It's not a gamble, right? Everything is still, especially if you've got the right person in the job, everything is even if it's a risk, it's a very calculated risk. There's a 90% chance that this will go right, but it can still go wrong. Right. And being able to make that decision, or the other way, right? There's a 90% chance this won't work. Right. But I think it's the right thing to do. And having the trust factor behind that, where it's like, if you think it's the right thing to do, then do it. Right. There is, I think, one thing in the entire history of my relationship with Lloyd at the firm that we disagreed on. And everything else, there wasn't a disagreement, not because he didn't think that we should do something different, but because he trusted me to just do it. I'll do the I told you so on him. I'll send this to him so he can watch it. The one thing that we disagreed on, I ended up being right on. So but that's just because he was personally he didn't want to make the decision. So he's like, I don't want to do it, so you do it. So he knew though. It was good. But having that relationship where he trusts me And he's let me make a lot of mistakes. And I know that I'm able to make those mistakes, not because he wants me to make them, and certainly not because I want to make them, but because without the wrong decisions, sometimes you can never find the right one. And you've got to be willing to make that investment. And Lloyd has made that investment in me like nobody else. It's been an incredible ride. And the other thing is, he invests in education, not just for the staff, but for me as well. I mean, Lloyd has let me do one-on-one coaching with some phenomenal coaches around the world. He has let me do. He's paid for my schooling. I'm in a leadership certification program through the Graduate School of Business at Stanford, and he's paid for that, and he's encouraged me to do that. And from the very beginning, it was like, "Hey, Lloyd, this is a program I think it'd be helpful." And he looked at it. He's like, "Do you think it will help the firm?" And it's like, "Absolutely." And he's like, "Perfect. Then you need to do it. Now you don't get a choice. You're doing it." And it's like, "Oh, I wasn't even sure yet. I was just asking you." And so making that investment in somebody to let them grow, instead of retaining control and then keeping them from growing, huge. And then that trickles down, right? Because then I feel empowered to do the same thing to the people I'm trying to bring up as leaders in the firm. And I was stuck in a cycle there for a while where I didn't want to grow and develop the people underneath me because I was worried that they wouldn't do it as good as I would, right? That's always the thing
Sure.
at a level, especially as an owner. And you've got to, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, maybe they'll do it better, right? And you've got to get over it, and you've got to let them develop into that, because if you don't, then you're right, they never will do it as good as you do. But guess what? You're never going to get it to the next step, right? And so you've got to let them develop. And now, because of that development, I'm able to focus on even more on management and even less on marketing, because the person that I was bringing up, I let them start to develop. I let them start to take control. I let them make mistakes, right? And now they've risen to the occasion and exceeded expectations. And now not only do I have trust in them to keep it going, the rest of the team does, right? And that's how you build new leaders. That's how you keep people good people.
Wow. I think our listeners, for homework after this podcast, need to pull out a sticky note, maybe 12 of them, and let them make mistakes and put it
Yes.
everywhere that you turn in your office, whether on your computer, in your car, and when you're driving there, outside the restroom, near the coffee pot, wherever you have to, because I think just even that visual of looking at that and hearing you say that, it just softens everything. You're like, okay, it's part of the process. It's the growth process.
Absolutely.
Because so often, and I'm guilty of this. I'm like, see, I can't trust anyone. They screw it up. I told you so. Like I'm taking it away. I'm taking that back.
Yeah, and that's how you get stuck in that cycle, right? And then you end up with everything again, and then wonder why things aren't growing or things aren't getting better. Whereas, the thing is, especially generally speaking, when you hire the right person, the type of people that you hire that are able to do to handle this type of growth and development, these are the people that are going to be way harder on themselves than you ever would be, right? And they don't want to fail more than you don't want them to fail.
Yeah.
Right. And you've got to recognize that when they make that mistake, there's nothing you could say that's going to make them feel worse than they already do about it. They're not going to make it again. Right. And again, that's part of the hiring process. Hiring the right people is so important for everything else down the line. And if you did your job in the beginning and they make a mistake, let them own it, let them figure out how to not make it again, and trust them to be able to move on from it. Don't keep kicking it in their face. Right? And don't try and take all the control back because of a mistake. That is the mistake. That's the bigger mistake than whatever they did.
Oh, right there. Mic drop. Oh, that was great. Oh my goodness. I as you know, we could talk for hours and hours.
We usually do.
We do. These are the conversations we have at the bar till 2 a.m, huh?
That's true. That's very, very true. Sometimes
Too
later.
many times.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so incredibly grateful that, number one, that I met you, that you shined the light on the value of this role of a CEO, how many attorneys you have personally empowered to take that leap of faith. And I am just so lucky that I know you personally and your beautiful daughter and your wife, and that, you know, Roz and I had the privilege to come out and do a field trip with you when you
Yeah,
took
that
us
was
to
fun.
Google and Dropbox and Apple and Adobe, where your aunt
Yeah. Yep.
works. And how fun was that? That was one of my
That was
most
awesome.
favorite trips.
It's one of my favorite things to talk about because, and this is probably a whole nother podcast, but blending that traditional law firm culture with that Silicon Valley, again, no micromanagement, let people grow, let people develop, take those risks, culture, blending those two together, I think that has been a major contributing factor. That in just building the right team. I mean, our team that we have at the law firm is there's not a single person there that I don't trust. There's not a single person there that I don't love working with on a day-to-day basis. And having that, it's the greatest part of everything that I get to do is working with those people day in and day out.
Oh my goodness. When most entrepreneurs are like, oh, business is great, buff for the employees, right? Yeah, you're like, no,
Yeah,
give me them. You're the
yeah,
perfect
give them to me.
person.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that when you look forward to going to work because you love the people you work with, how does that not make you want to do a great job every day? How does that not make you want to serve the clients and serve them well? Right? How does that not make you want to finish your career at the place that you're working? That's what it's about.
Oh my goodness. Goosebumped. All right, my friend, I am so grateful for you. I'm going to have in the show notes how people can check out
Awesome.
your website, learn
Yeah,
more about your law firm, and just see all the amazing stuff that they are doing. Your
yeah.
website's like walking into a living room. It just says so much about the personality and culture and energy of your firm.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and feel free to add my email on there. I'm always happy to hear and help other firms. That's one of the ways that I think we've been able to build. And you know, there's other great attorneys out there, great practices out there that we've all risen together. You know, and so I think again, don't have that scarcity mentality. We certainly don't. If there's something we can find a way to help you with, I'm happy to do it. Um, Chances are Molly knows all the right answers anyways, though, so you can always ask her. But yeah, feel free to add my email there as well.
Oh God, if my team's listening to this, they're laughing, or my kids. Yeah, she does not know all the answers. Oh,
None of us do, but
I
you're pretty
know.
darn close, I'm sure.
Well, thank you. And thank you for that generous offer and gift.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure, and I hope to be back here again very soon.
Indeed. Okay, that's another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. If you are not sold on buying into this model of letting go, I love one of my favorite quotes, let go or be dragged. It's a Zen
Oh yeah,
proverb, and it's
absolutely.
so true. I think you just nailed that one home, Chris.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, having the show notes, how to look up Chris and connect with him on all his channels. And until next time, be good and be well.